I have people reaching out every week wanting to move to Washington, D.C. So I have decided to put together 16 things you should know before you move to Washington. I'm Adrian Small with TTR Sotheby's International Realty, and I want you to hang in there because this will be a countdown, and number one will definitely surprise you. So before we start, I want you to click on the subscribe button and on the little bell. It'll notify you whenever I upload a new video, which I do constantly. So moving on. Number 16, let's talk weather. The weather in Washington, D.C. ranges from 22 degrees to 89 degrees if we average it all. But I have to talk winter. Winter months are cold. We hadn't had snow in a while, but we did this last season. And this is not a city prepared for snow. So we get 3 inches and government closes off, the schools close, the kids stay home and have fun, of course. And of course, the city is not prepared for that. So the main arteries are definitely plowed, but not necessarily the neighborhood or secondary streets. So you should know that if you move to Washington, D.C. Of course, if you come from Minnesota or Chicago, this should be like a laughing matter. Okay, come spring, explosion of color, the forsythias, all sorts of colors of azaleas, etc., blooming. It's such a beautiful time of the year. And of course, we have during the month of March at the tidal basin, the cherry trees blooming, and now they're planted all over in different neighborhoods. So if you don't get down to the tidal basin because it's too crowded, you can go to different neighborhoods and get a chance to see these beautiful trees blooming. So spring, wow, very attractive. Come summer, you have to remember that Washington was built on a swamp. So when it comes to summer, it's very humid. And as you get close to the end of July, August, it gets really hot. And really hot can mean maybe 100 degrees for maybe a week or 10 days, but that's as far as it goes. I like the summer showers because it's like I'll stand out there going like, cool me down. So you have to be aware that there will be, on and off summer showers during the summer. Once that passes, another explosion of color come fall. The turning of the leaves, the maple trees going yellow and then red, etc. You'll really like our fall. So that's basically the weather when it comes to Washington, D.C. On to number 15. We are the fittest city, the fourth fittest city in the country. We have 479 miles of trails. You want to bike, you want to run, you want to walk, we have it all available. You want to golf, you want to play tennis. It's fabulous. The amount of people out there being fit is fantastic, and the natural resources, or I should say, infrastructure, is out there for you to do any one of these activities. So that's 15. Number 14, we are close to the Potomac River. What does that mean? Well, we have the wharf full of restaurants. You can sit out there in the spring, the summer, the fall, eat good food. And we also have the National Harbor. No, that's Maryland. We have the Washington Harbor, which is right off of Georgetown. And that's fabulous also with top-notch restaurants. And you can also sit on the water and really, really cool. So that was number 14. Okay, let's see. Number 13, DC, expensive city. If you tell me where you're coming from, I might even put together for you a little comparison just so you know where you are in your budget and your income. Uh, as a realtor, I provide this service for a lot of my clients. We are ranked the fifth most expensive city in the nation. Just to give you an idea, one of the things that I feel is particularly expensive, not only real estate in the DC area, because there isn't that much space available in DC, but also food. So put a comment in there or message me. I'll put my phone there so you can message me or email me, asking me some questions, and then we can do that exercise for you. Okay, number 12. We do not have tall buildings. You want a tall building? You go to Virginia. You want a tall building? You go to Maryland. Why? People say that it's because no building could be taller than the Capitol, or no building could be taller from the Washington Monument. Sorry, that's not the case. There is the Tall Building Act of 1910 that specifies that buildings cannot exceed 90 feet. So there is a trend in the Northeast, etc., to take some of these row houses and convert them into condos. Well, since cannot go up further than 90 feet, you end up having a building that can house 8 to 10 condos only, which makes it attractive. I think everybody's on the same level keel. I particularly enjoy that there's no big eyesore, and some of the government buildings are also very traditional in their construction and cannot exceed that height either. So that's buildings. Number 11, we have 70 museums in DC, 17 of which are free. Like all the Smithsonian museums are free. And in addition to that, there's also outdoor exhibits in the course of spring and summer. A very active cultural city. And what I also like is their permanent outdoor exhibits, like the Hirshhorn Museum, where you can visit, their sculpture garden. It's beautiful. You can do that any season of the year, but it's definitely beautiful. So that's for museums. Number 10, the city is built around parks. If there's something that is so attractive, it's that. So we have Rock Creek Park, we have Reno, we have Benjamin Banneker, we have Dumbarton Oaks. There are around 30, if I'm not mistaken, there are 30 national parks in DC. And the other thing, if you're a pet lover, if you have a doggy, there are around 14 great dog parks in and around the area. Okay, number 9. One of our challenges in DC is DC public schools. We are ranked number 40 in the nation when it comes to public schools. However, we have over 100 private schools in the area. The average tuition for those is around $26,000 a year, and about 45% of them have a religious inclination, be it Catholic or Episcopal. I can also, put in the description. I'll put some resources where you can click and see, what schools are in the area, and then I can also coach you if you contact me, as to what schools cover what neighborhoods that you're interested in. Very well. Number 8. Remember, continuing with schools, we have, I think, 19 colleges and universities. American University, George Washington, Georgetown University, Howard University, just to name a few. And then there are, institutions of higher education, Johns Hopkins, et cetera, et cetera. So you will see a lot of students in and around the city, which gives it a particular vibe. Okay, we are now down to number 7. Do not expect to have a lot of land around your property. If you go to Virginia, you might have a home on 3 acres. If you go to Maryland, you might have a home on, an acre lot. In DC, since we took over swampland, lots are small, so you do not get a lot of land when you move to DC. If that's something that you're particularly interested in, you should know. Okay, number 6, we have the largest library in the world, the Library of Congress. So everybody thinks that's aloof, it's over there, etc., etc. Believe me, I've been there several times. And if you have kids and they want to do research on certain things, it's a trip worth the while. Okay, so we are number 5. Guess what? DC doesn't have any malls and doesn't have any airports. You want to go to the malls, you go to Virginia or Maryland. You want to go to the airport, you go to Virginia or Maryland. So the advantage is that we have the Ronald Reagan Airport, called DCA, which is a few minutes from DC. That's the closest one. And then we have Dulles International, and those two airports are located in Virginia. And then you can also fly out of Baltimore Washington Airport, which sits in, of course, close to Baltimore, Maryland. Shopping malls, you got to go to Maryland, you got to go to Virginia for those. Okay, so number 5, even after COVID, there is a lot of nightlife and restaurant activity. It's amazing. I've been living here for 18 years. I've seen it go from here to wow, the 14th Street corridor, Georgetown, DuPont Circle, the Northeast, where the new developments have privy themselves of having, the little cafes, the restaurants, etc. So definitely, when it comes to nightlife and restaurants, and we also gone from closing at 9, like bedtime, to more decent hours in the evening. So you will find every imaginable cuisine and excellent good food in DC. And we also have ourselves food trucks. I say that because there's a whole lot of them downtown DC. You want sushi, you want tacos, you want Korean, etc., etc. They're all there. You will really enjoy that. Very affordable when it comes to eating off a truck. Number three, you have to understand that DC, it's a seat of government. So because of that, it's transient population. You have changes in government, changes in staffers, changes in lobbyists. We have embassies, we have the World Bank, the IMF, all these organizations have people come in and out, in and out. So you might go to a gala this year and you might go to another one next year, and there will be different people there. So very transient moving population. We also do a lot of interchanges, for example, with the Pentagon being so close, and we have a number of very close by military bases. So there's a lot of traffic that comes from, Texas to here, etc. So at the end of the day, a lot of movement. So transient population. Number two, traffic. What can I say? We are ranked number six traffic in the nation. One key thing I have to tell you, but it happened to me when I arrived. There are times where, come rush hour, everybody in the evening is going one way, and come rush hour in the morning, everybody is going the other way. And so I was unpleasantly surprised by that change. That I didn't know that happens on certain thoroughfares. Traffic. So I think I'm going to put a resource of what to do when you're stuck in traffic. I think I found it today, and I thought it was very interesting because a lot of us get stuck in traffic in DC. Number. So I got to number one, and that is DC is a fashionable city. I wanted to talk about fashion because I rarely see this anywhere else. Maybe sometimes in the Midwest. But in DC, suits and ties are still worn. Knee-length skirts are still worn with pumps. You see a lot of that probably because of the nature of the profession, the lobbyists, the lawyers, the financial people, etc. It's starting to relax a little, but you still see what I call business casual. Maybe you ditch the tie, and that also has contributed for some of the restaurants to like lower the standards because I remember there used to be several restaurants here where if you didn't wear a tie, if men didn't wear a tie, you showed up, they gave you one because it was like rule of thumb. However, if you go to like Gala or if you go to the Kennedy Center, you will still find people in formal attire. So we haven't ditched that for jeans and khakis and flip flops and shorts. If you see that, it's mostly tourists, but the locals will basically still dress up. It's still a very fashionable city. So that's what I have for you. I love DC and I love helping potential buyers that I want to move here, finding properties, and of course as a real estate agent, and of course helping them through some of these hiccups or information that they might encounter or they might want to do some more research on. I have the resources for that. So stay tuned.